tear, it falls and hits the ground. A tree, it falls without a sound. A bird, it calls and sends you home. A man, he sits in the cold all alone.
Hi, Kuuipo. Thank you so much for joining me at the Joy of Sunflowers. Please introduce yourself a little bit more.
Hi, I am Kuuipo. I'm a mother of two. I did struggle with fertility for 2 years, but I finally have my two rainbow babies, and I'm hoping that we can have more. And if not, that's okay, but more kids, the better for me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's start from the very beginning. Did you always want to have children, or was it something that kind of became a thing?
I actually, from the moment I remember existing, I have always wanted kids. I've always wanted to be a mom. I At the age of 9 years old, I actually became the mom to my siblings. So at the age of in 2009, so I was 9 years old at the time, my mom got Guillain-Barré and she was paralyzed from the neck down. And so she was in the hospital for a while, and my dad had to work to kind of pay for the bills and everything. And so I kind of stepped up with my older brother and became the mom for my siblings. And as hard as that may seem for me, I loved it. It was my dream to be a mom. And so ever since then, I've always wanted to be a mom, a young mom, even. And I don't know, when we started trying, it kind of, it broke my heart because it wasn't happening as soon as I wanted it. But I don't know, I feel like I still have younger siblings. I have a 8-year-old brother right now. And and my brother, who's 2 years older than me and my sister-in-law actually got pregnant at the same time. And so we were super excited. We were a week apart. And then that's when I had my first miscarriage. And it was really, really hard on me because I feel like jealousy, and I kept asking why, like, why do they get to have a baby and I don't? Like, you know, I feel like all those thoughts go through your head, and it took me a while to kind of get to where I was excited for them. I was happy for them. Just because I can't have a baby doesn't mean, I can't be happy for other people. And I was super excited to become an aunt at that point. And I kind of focused on, what I do have and my husband. And I don't know, I had a lot during that moment. I had a lot of realizations of love and the support I have, and it's all in God's hands at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you already went through so much, like just growing up, and taking on that responsibility for your siblings and doing all of that, that's a lot to take on. And then having that experience where you're pregnant with someone at the same time. I've heard a few ladies say about it, and it is really tough because you're the one that didn't get to keep the baby, and they're sitting there and they're pregnant, and you're like, well, I want to be with you. Well,
Right.
you are.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. Definitely hard.
Yeah. So how did that progress? Like, I mean, obviously, I'm guessing she had the baby, like her baby. So how did you feel after she had her baby? Like, did you feel any certain ways, like when you held her baby?
So, actually, I went to their gender reveal ultrasound, and I was still I wasn't mad at them, but I had that anger and jealousy, and I didn't know how to really feel. But they invited me, and when I saw on the screen, I don't know what happened. I was praying. I was like, help me to love this and support them and not be jealous and sad, and be the victim. I didn't want that. And I don't know, but in that moment, my heart like sank. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be an aunt. Like this is a beautiful thing. Why am I not celebrating this? And then after that, I was so excited for them. Yes, I was still mourning, but for them, it was like a happiness I can't even explain. And they actually let me in the labor and delivery room. So I got to watch my niece be born. And I feel like we've been connected ever since she was born. The first time I held her, I just, I melted. I can't even explain it. I was so happy for them. I was so happy that I finally get a baby to spoil. I don't really have to parent the baby, so I can spoil it all I want. And that's kind of how I healed. She almost healed me. I mean, I'm not all the way healed, but she healed a piece in my heart that broke. And yeah, it was very special for me when I first held her, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's something about a baby being born, around the time where you were expecting, that it is slightly healing. Like I had a friend who was pregnant. She was actually pregnant before me, so she was ahead of me, and I got pregnant and then I lost mine. But yeah, but when I, saw her baby, it went a long way to healing, because it was like, well, this is a beautiful baby, and it's so, like, I'm so grateful that you were able to have your baby, and that's beautiful. And I'd never wish what I went through on anybody else, but it's really hard sometimes to kind of like get that right mindset.
Right, right. Get the excitement for them. Right. I totally get that. And I also forgot to mention that when she was born, I was pregnant and I miscarried the same day she was actually born. And during that time, I am praying. I'm like, help me be happy and feel the joy. And it just, I, I don't know. It changed me. She really changed me, this baby. And babies are miracles. And I don't know. I was just super happy for them, for sure.
So let's get into your losses. So how did that kind of go? Because I know for some people it can be really long and drawn out, and then for others it can be really quick. So how did the first loss go?
So my first loss, I actually never, like, my body never recognized that I miscarried, and so I was just carrying, an empty sac, and so I actually had to get a DNC to help kind of start that process. And I feel like it was pretty fast. Like, the hard, the painful part went by within a week or so, and it was just more the emotional that never really went away, that took longer than the physical part, for sure. But I don't know. I With all of my miscarriages, I feel like they all were pretty fast with the physical part, and it was just the mental part that really dragged on and is still dragging on. I've just learned to deal with it a little bit better now, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Did you say you had your losses first and then you had your rainbows?
Yeah, so I actually had 3 miscarriages before my daughter.
Right.
And then after her, I had 3 more, and then I had my son. And just recently, I just had a new one. So I've had a few. I've had 7 so far. And I hate to say that because I don't know. We still don't know why. And I hope it won't happen again. And I hope for everyone else that it doesn't happen to them, because it's a horrible thing to go through. It really is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I actually did read some of what you were saying before, like with the little description that you sent me, and 3 losses and then a baby and then 3 more. I don't like that. So I struggled with 2, and I said to my husband, I was like, if this doesn't work out, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am currently pregnant right now, 25 weeks.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. But yeah, it's very, I mean, you know,
Right.
you
Right.
don't,
Right. Yep.
you know.
It's hard because you can't explain it. Like, I don't know. And you don't, I don't know. I know what you mean. It's definitely hard.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
like, congratulations. You're just like, oh, I don't
Right.
know.
Right. 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 Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. So is this your rainbow baby, or do you have other kids?
Yeah, so this is a rainbow, because obviously I've come off 2 losses, but I have
Right. Right.
3 other children. So I had three kids first, And then I had losses and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
What world is this? And now I'm hopefully pregnant with my rainbow.
You are. I feel it. I know you are.
I mean, like we have good days, bad days, freaking out days, and then like the joyful days where I'm like, it's all rainbows, but
Right.
you never
Right.
know.
I feel like after miscarriage, it's kind of hard to, I mean, you can enjoy the pregnancy, but it's hard because
Yeah.
you're constantly thinking, oh my gosh, what is something going to happen? Like, you know, I'm sure you know for sure
Yes.
it's to somewhat enjoy it. Yeah. 'Cause you're
So how
constantly worried.
yeah, exactly, constantly worried. How did your losses go? Like, did you have them early, or were they sort of second trimester, or sort of, yeah, whereabouts were the placement of them?
So my very first one was second trimester, and the rest were actually pretty early in the first trimester, about 5 to 6 weeks. So I didn't really make it past. I want to say 7. We don't know for sure, but with kind of the time zone, taking the pregnancy test and then my HCG just slowly going down, it was more in the up to 7 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you pass most of them naturally, or did you have other DNCs?
I had so after my first DNC, I passed the other 2 naturally, and then I had to have one other DNC, and the rest were naturally.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite unique when we have had multiple experiences. Like I just had natural. The first one was very long-winded and took ages. The second one was really quick. So what was your experience with natural sort of delivery and just going through those motions?
I feel like with the natural, it's hard because when I first found out I was pregnant, I was super excited. I was also nervous, and like 2 weeks go by, and I kind of get like this feeling, like I get a tiny cramp, and I immediately think, oh no, I'm in a miscarriage. I mean, I'm in a miscarry, and it worries me, and I don't. And then a few days later, I get this one cramp that I know for sure is a miscarriage, and that was really hard for me because when you first see, the blood, your heart breaks and all your excitement and joy immediately goes away, and I kind of just sat there crying silently, and I thought, when do I tell my husband? When, like, we told our families, like, how do we tell them that I'm miscarrying when I'm mourning? I'm a kind of a private person, and I don't want to go to people and mourn with them. Like, it's hard for me, and I've learned to mourn with people, but I don't know, during that moment I'm crying, just sitting there realizing I'm losing another baby, and I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And it was a lot harder because I didn't have like that time to process before. I mean, I never really had time to process, but it happened right then. And so everything, all my emotions come out at the same time. I don't know. I'm a mess usually during those times. A huge mess.
Yeah. And I'm guessing like it doesn't matter like the number of loss, like it every single time it's the same, like in terms of feeling that like broken and
Yeah.
yeah.
Every time. Every time. And I feel like every time I get my hopes up and I'm so excited, and then it happens again, and all the emotions come back. And I always think I'm not going to be as sad. I'm going to get up. I'm going to keep trying. We're going to be okay. But that never happens. I'm always down again and sad. And I feel like that's okay, but it's hard. It definitely is hard.
Yeah, I mean, there are some women who can do that. Like they're like, yeah, I can just
Right.
keep going, but I think we have to accept the woman we are, like, and our journey.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because we might not be those women, and that's okay. If we're those, women who go down in their pit somewhere, then that's fine. We can do that. That's definitely me. I definitely sunk down. But the second one, not so much, but that was because it was so early and I just kind of I knew, like I was like, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna lose this one. Did you have moments like that? Like I know you said about the cramping and then you sort of knew with that that other cramp, but were there times when you were pregnant and you were just like, this one's not gonna, like I know this is gonna be a miscarriage?
Yes. Yes. I've had many of those. With my last one just recently, I had that feeling. And I don't know how to explain how I knew. It was just there. And it's in the back of my head and I try and push it away, but it's just I felt it. I felt it was coming.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a mixture of thoughts when it comes to like the knowing, because some women are like, how did I not know? I wish I'd known. And then other ladies are like, I just knew and I wish I didn't know. So it's really,
Yeah.
there's such a complicated, layering effect of emotions. How did you feel? Like, how did you feel about each loss? Like in terms of that, like, did you wish you'd known? Did you feel like, oh no, I wish I'd just felt good the whole time? Or how were your emotions with it?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like I wish I didn't know, because then I can always have that excitement and the support from everybody of telling them. Because I feel like when I get that feeling, I don't tell anybody and I kind of hide until it does happen. And then I don't have that support. But when I didn't get that feeling, I told everybody. And when it did happen, I had support and I had that love and I had people there. And so I wish I didn't know.
Yeah. Would you say like you need people even more so when you lose than when you have it? Yeah. That's
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
that's
And
how I
even if like they don't understand,
yeah.
because all my family, I think I'm the only one that has gone through miscarriage, and so none of them. I feel like none of them truly would understand. But it's always good to still have somebody to talk to, or to even sit by you, even if you don't want to talk. They're right there, and they're there, and you have the support, and they'll always be there for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if your house is really messy and you need someone to come and sort it out because you just can't get out of bed, then they'll come over and they might clean it for you. Because they know.
Right? Exactly. Yes.
Or they'll
Right.
send over
No,
a
I
cleaning
agree
person.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll send over someone to do it for you.
Right. Right.
I think there is something to be said. Like, I mean, you said you had two rainbows, like that. I mean, I've had three kids and I can say like having kids is hard. Like being a mother, is hard, obviously. Like it all comes with its challenges. But there was something just like I can't even explain. I mean, that's just so hard about loss when you lose a child, and that possibility of what that child would have been. That to me, like you need so much more support, so much more help than had you actually had the baby, because like mentally, physically, you're dealing with so much. Like even, I mean, I know you said you didn't feel like it was too hard on you physically, but like you still went through postpartums, even through those losses.
Right.
But yeah, so how was your DNC postpartum?
I feel like it was um a little, I mean, not that it was harder, but it was harder physically, just because I feel like it causes more cramping, and I go under anesthesia. Oh, I don't know how to say that, but I go under medication. And so when you come out of it, everything you were feeling before is 10 times worse when you wake up from it. And so that's what made it way harder for me. And the pain was much worse. And just the environment, I feel like, because you're in a hospital, you're not at home in the comfort of your own home. And I feel like everyone's just doing their job. They're not necessarily there to really be there for you. And at my home, I have people that are there for me. And obviously after I got home, I did have people, but I just feel like with the DNC, it was a lot harder and more painful physically and mentally on me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I presumed as much. Like, I haven't really been told too much about the DNC aftermath, but I had mine naturally. So for me, it was I mean, I just see it as your body kind of knows what to kind of do ish. Like, I know it can take ages for it to realize things, but
Right.
you know, the processes your body can kind of deal with. But when you've got intervention, then it's like your body has to be like, hang on, what? You know,
Yeah.
because it's not like a normal bodily process that you've then gone through. So okay, so you haven't had any answers. Are you searching? Like, are you trying to get answers, or is it one of those things where they've just said, nah, you're not going to get any answers. This is as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, I feel like I need to get more answers. We are trying to get more answers, but the doctors that I'm working with right now are kind of just like, we don't know. We probably will never know. And so, but they don't do a lot of testing. I love my doctors, I really do, but I wish they would push for more answers because I feel like going through a miscarriage, it's really hard on me mentally. And with two kids, it makes it even harder because I don't know, I feel almost bad when I go through a miscarriage because I'm down and, depressed, and I don't want them to see that. And I know they need to, but I don't want that for them. And so I wish doctors would help me see more. They've said maybe it's a chemical balance, or they don't know what's wrong with me because I just keep miscarrying. We do know that my husband actually has only 2% of good sperm, but that's obviously not an issue because we keep getting pregnant. And so he's okay. And we've gotten pregnant with IUI and everything, but it's just, I can't keep the babies and we don't know why. And I've taken medications to help keep, and that doesn't always work. So we're still looking for answers and hoping to find. So
Yeah. No, it's
yeah.
I think a lot of people just get swept under the rug by the doctors because the doctors are like, oh, we won't know and we won't ever know. But that's just, I mean, a lot of the time, I think it's just something that they say to try and make you feel better. It doesn't, by the way. If any doctors are watching, it doesn't make us feel better. Thank you.
It doesn't.
At all.
No.
Say something
We're
different.
always yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so interesting, like, because a lot of us have a similar kind of experience when it comes to GPs, doctors, and things like that. Oh, we'll never know. We just don't know, and we can test this and this, but that's, it's not really. It's come back with nothing, and it is so gut wrenching when you don't get the answers that you want. I know a lot of women have pretty much become self-advocates. Like they're like, really, just, you have to be an advocate, you have to go at it, you have to really like like have a go at the doctors basically, to get the care that
Right.
you want, but like it's hard because you're just like, when you're in there, you're just like, oh, hello, you're a doctor, hi. You feel weird,
Right.
what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
But you know what? Like, they're people too. Just because they have a degree and they're like a doctor person does not mean they know everything. And it's okay for us to say, no, I want this care, and I want this test, and I want these things, and make it happen.
Right. Advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
It is hard though, but
Oh, yeah, it is.
because you have to get that like gumption. You have to like,
Right. You do. You kind of, I don't know, you feel like you're almost going to fight, not really fight, but you have to get to that point of wanting to push for something.
Oh, we shouldn't have to do that. Like, we shouldn't have to fight so hard for our, medical rights, and like what's going on with us.
Exactly. Right. Especially when I feel like they do know a little more than us. Why can't they help us? Or be like, go to this website, or, like anything, just anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm doing this event, because there's just such a lack of care when it comes to the medical industry. But then when you start like talking to people, you find all these like wellness and like well-being professionals and like what's it called, like naturopathy and like natural healing and like Chinese medicine. It's really interesting, all of these different things, like acupuncture. I mean, have you tried acupuncture?
I actually, right before we got pregnant with our daughter, I made an appointment to try acupuncture to help us get pregnant. But then I got pregnant with IUI. So it was like right before we, tried. And I was like, oh, I got to cancel that appointment now. But I have wanted to try. I really have.
Apparently it's really good, and it's helped regulate women's cycles. So
yeah,
I don't know if it worked for you, but it's worth trying. Hey, if you want a bunch of needles,
it won't hurt to try, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the needle thing, but it's definitely something that's an option that you can think about. Right. I quite like the food thing, like the natural neutral. No, wow, words. Nutritionists, there you go. Nutritionists are awesome because they really like cater to you, and then they'll like get you on the like fertility foods, the foods that really like boost your just like overall well-being, but also your womb health. Like one of the ladies,
yes.
She was like, I make sure the womb is like a beautiful home for the baby, and I was like, oh, so nice.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I actually kind of understand the whole food thing because before my daughter, I lost 25 pounds. I started eating super healthy and I learned all about foods and what's good for you and what can help, get you pregnant, keep you pregnant, and kind of keep that baby healthy. And that, I feel like that had a huge part in getting me pregnant, was for sure food. Because I feel like food controls our lives. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And learning about it and learning about, certain foods that can not necessarily hurt your body, but it can, and kind of take those out, take out the toxic materials and bring in the good, the organic and everything.
I can tell you, like, for anyone who's watching this or listening and hasn't looked into food and health, it's a real rabbit hole. Like there are some freaky deaky things that you find in food products. Like when you start reading the back of packets, you're just like, I'm not a chemistry like person. Like, what is this? And you read all these things that don't even make sense. Obviously, they do, that they're the name for something that's real and is in there. But when you're reading
us, right? No, exactly. For us, it makes no sense. And some products, like you look them up and you're like, why is that in my food? I should not be eating that.
Yeah, like how is this is this a food? Is this edible? I don't think this is edible. Right. Like this, yeah. There's some things I'm like, that's not food. It says it's food, but it's not food. Don't eat it.
Yeah, there's no way it is. Yeah.
Oh no, it's amazing. And as soon as you like go on this journey, like trying to have kids, or you've got kids and you're trying to keep them really healthy, you do like start looking at all these things and you look at packets and it gets so crazy and you just there's just so much to it. And yes, it's like a big massive like rabbit hole. I don't know if you've looked into cleaning products as well, but that gets full on too. Cleaning products, hair products, beauty products, everything. It's just, there's just so much.
Right. It's overwhelming for sure.
Yeah. Like forget the IUI and IVF, like all of this stuff as well. Like
yes,
just couple it all together and you're just like,
it's a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How has IUI been for you? Because we have a lot of people talking on IVF, but not so much on IUI. So how like what's the process like for you? And how have you guys sort of gone through and yeah.
So actually we did our own IUI, shockingly, but it's kind of expensive for us. And so not as expensive as IVF, but it was on the expensive side and we did have the money. But I actually worked at a healthcare facility and my boss said her neighbor, funny enough, tried a turkey baster and it actually worked. And so she gifted me a medical syringe that's almost like a turkey baster to me for use, and I laughed about it. But then one night, I told my husband, I was like, I'm ovulating, and I kind of want to try this. And we tried it, and lo and behold, we got pregnant with our daughter. So it's crazy. And they have kits. So after our daughter, before we were even gonna try it, we ordered, it's called Mosey Baby. We ordered that, and they actually teach you how to do it yourself and at home, and it's much cheaper. But that didn't come yet. So we tried the lovely medical turkey baster, and it worked. So that's, ours is a little different than the medical IUI. It's more of a at-home remedy for sure.
I
But
love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. And then you get to tell that story to your daughter, like,
Yes.
I turkey basted myself.
And it's like, we were joking about it. Like, me and my husband are literally joking, laughing. And then the next month, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. Like, and it was weird because after 3 miscarriages, this pregnancy, I wasn't worried I was going to miscarry. It's like I had the feeling, I was like, this is our baby. Like, it's crazy, but yeah, it's a funny story.
That is actually so crazy. Like, wow,
Yeah.
like a turkey baster. Because you think
Yeah.
IUI, I think I mean, I've been told like they insert it into the bottle. So like, oh, sorry, or insert it into the woman. That was it. They insert it into the woman when she's ovulating because it all works with her cycle. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that makes sense, but I was thinking like turkey basting, but it was kind of, it's all medical. So it's all grade, whatever it is. So I was like, okay,
Right.
but you guys did it yourselves. I love that. That's so great.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
Yes, it is. It's expensive. And like, we had the money, but we might as well try and save money before we do that. So we did.
Here you go, people. You heard it from a lady who's done it. Turkey basters
Yeah.
can work.
Right. Yep, they work.
One day you're going to have the best story to tell her. She's like explaining the whole thing.
Yep, either I'm going to embarrass her or she's going to be proud of it.
It'll
We'll
be a real
see.
mixture, And
Yes.
then you could do like jokes where you're like, oh yeah, we still use the turkey baster now. No. Just
Oh my gosh. We actually probably could. I still have it.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, look, there's things I think sometimes we have to keep these things, like, okay,
Right.
I'm gonna be gross now. I've kept my pregnancy tests, some of them.
I have to. I feel like I can't let them go. And I don't know why. I don't know, they're special to me.
Some of them I was like, I need it as proof to show that I did show a negative test before I showed a positive. Like, I need it as proof to show I actually did show a positive. And because there was a few that I threw away, and then I lost the baby, and then I was like, well, did it show up positive? Was it a real positive? Oh, and then
That's how I was.
Yeah, so now I'm just like, hold on to all the pregnancy tests and like keep them all like somewhere, and hope the children don't get a hold of them somehow, and
right. Keep up in a drawer in a baggie. Right. Yep, that's me.
And then horrify someone who comes over and they're like, what? Why do you? What?
They wouldn't understand. You can't explain it.
Look, some people keep coins and like stamps. Okay, I keep pregnancy tests. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Right.
I'm a collector.
Right. And I will showcase them one day. Just kidding.
Well, some people do, obviously, on like Instagram and stuff. And I think sometimes when I see those, I'm just like, my heart like breaks, because I'm just like, I know exactly how it feels when you look at the negative test. Like, even when you're having a miscarriage, like just looking, or you've had your miscarriage, looking at the actual test show negative, it hurts. Like, so much. It shouldn't hurt, because I don't, but it hurts.
Right. I agree.
So, with your rainbows, how was that process? Because you said, when you were pregnant, you felt like this is our baby. Was that the same with the second rainbow? And how were those experiences?
So with my second, we had three miscarriages before him, and after that, I decided to go to a fertility clinic to figure out, what's wrong and get pregnant because I was worried. I wanted my kids to be really close in age, my first two, and so we went and they said, "All right, I want to start you on Clomid, but let's first get a period," because I just miscarried, and so we were waiting for the period. They said, "Don't try this month. Let's just wait till you get a period." Well, we didn't try, but we did get pregnant. And I saw that test, and it was actually the same feeling. I felt, oh my gosh, this is our second baby. He's going to stick. I mean, I didn't know it was a he then, but I felt this baby was going to stick, and I couldn't explain it. I knew, and he did. He's here, our another rainbow baby that we are so happy about and blessed for sure and grateful for. But I don't know, it was the same feeling. And so I wonder if with all my future kids, I'll get the same feeling or if I just will never know.
Wow.
But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, while you were pregnant, did you get those doubt moments where you were just like, oh my gosh, maybe, yeah. Because like
Yes.
when I got pregnant this time, I was like did get a sense that, this is the baby we're going to keep. Like this baby's going to stay here. But there are so many moments that just like, I didn't feel her very much last night. So now, like now I'm freaking out, I've been freaking out all morning and I'm like, is she gonna go now? And it's so frustrating because yeah, I had that feeling originally. Like I was like, we're gonna have this baby, like this is it, But then yeah, it still plays on your mind, especially when you're talking to women or you're in the space and you're hearing all the stories and you're like, well, I'm at the same time she was and she lost hers. And, rather
Right.
than like, oh, well, all these women have had babies because heaps of women have babies all the time. And,
Right.
but we're looking at the lost mums because we're also a lost mum. So, but.
Right. Right. And with my first daughter, I actually spotted. And so it scared me. And I was like, I know she's going to come. So why is this happening? And then at 25 weeks, I was having contractions. I was in early labor. They stopped it luckily. And then she was born at 34 weeks. So
Wow.
it was scary just because I know 34 weeks is past, the 25 weeks, which is really good. It was just very scary in that moment because I didn't know what to expect. And with all my miscarriages, I was expecting the worst. I really was, but she's here. She's in the NICU for only a week and she made it. And so with my second, he came 4 weeks early at 36 weeks exactly. And so I kind of knew what to expect, but it never gets easier after the miscarriages. I can't always enjoy it. I feel like my pregnancy. And that's one thing I wish that I could change, but it's hard when you're constantly worrying.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good to be sort of prepared in a sense of like what could go wrong, but then you want to enjoy, like you want to have a good time, and love this baby however long it's there for, and if it's there the whole time, great, but if it's not, you want to enjoy it, like you want to love it. And yeah, you just don't get to do that as much.
Right. Right.
When you had your rainbows, um, how was the process of motherhood after?
Honestly, with my first, I was in heaven. I was so happy. I can't even describe it. It's like I was living in a dream. And I mean, I was living in a dream, and then every now and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is too good to be real. What's going to happen? And that was just me because of all the miscarriages. I always thought it can't be this good. And it was. It truly was. And then her first year was amazing. And we obviously got pregnant with my son her first year. And after him, I actually went through postpartum depression, and I it makes me really sad. It breaks my heart because I wasn't able to enjoy him as much as I enjoyed my daughter. I barely remember it just because of the postpartum. And I feel like people also don't talk about that as much, because as happy as I am to have a rainbow baby, I didn't realize how hard it's going to be with my second. It was extremely hard. And it's still hard. Two under two. Of course it's going to be hard, but I just feel like after all the miscarriages and everything and the postpartum and two kids, it was a lot. It was, but now I feel like I'm finally able to enjoy my kids and realize what I have, you know?
Yeah, I think with postpartum, it's such an odd thing. Like I had postpartum with my second as well, and it's an overwhelming like hormonal thing. It really isn't you. Like
Right.
you're not the leader of that. Like it's just this feeling and thing that you get. And I think, yeah, it's not really talked about enough. I know that sometimes in this space, sometimes women can be like, oh, well, aren't you just grateful you have a baby? You know, can't you? It's like it's not a choice, just like
Right.
loss isn't a choice. Going through
Mhm.
postpartum depression is it's not a choice. It's a hormonal imbalance, and you want so much to feel the right things for your child, and you just can't feel that, you know, and it is heartbreaking, and some women don't even feel the heartbreak of it, and then they feel guilty for not feeling any of it. it's
Right.
it's like a, you know, a whirlwind of just emotions, just like losses, you know, and you want to feel a certain way, but you just can't get there until you're ready, until it's the time, until your hormones balance out or whatever it is that's causing it sorts itself. And yeah, for me, I think it was like 6 months to a year. I swear it was a year. I think after about 6 months, I was really trying, like consciously, to act differently, because I didn't want to be in that space anymore, and I wanted to feel more. Um, but yeah, and I forced myself to breastfeed because I didn't want to at all. I just like forced myself the whole time. So how was that for you? Like with your postpartum, like how did you move through it? Did you breastfeed during that time? Like how did it go?
So with my postpartum, I actually uh so my husband luckily was home the whole time. I mean, he had 6 weeks off, not the whole time of postpartum, but you know, the first 6 weeks, which was super nice, and he truly helped me. But the first 2 weeks my son was born, it was super hard for me mentally. I didn't feel like myself. I didn't really know who I was. I had these thoughts in my head that I wish I never did. And with breastfeeding, I have a condition. I mean, I haven't been diagnosed with it yet, but I actually have never made enough milk. I've only made 15 ml at the most. And
Wow.
so, on top of the postpartum, I was dealing with the breastfeeding and having to use formula. And I felt like a horrible mom. And I was frustrated why I couldn't create enough milk for him. And it, it was really hard. And so I breastfed more for a bonding experience, for him to have that and for me to have that. Because I feel like that sort of helped me heal, was that, because it is a bonding experience. It really is. And he still got some, not a lot, of course, but I did that for about 3 months. And then I stopped because my milk just disappeared. Not that I really had any, but about 3 months I breastfed, and then the rest was bottle feeding for the rest of the time. But with those 3 months, I really did bond with him, and he helped me heal a little bit more. He helped me feel, I guess, feel like myself and feel like a mom. Because in that moment, I didn't. I didn't feel like these were my kids. Like, it's sad to say, but I didn't. Postpartum's hard. It really is. And yeah, I don't, I feel like he's only 8 months right now, and I still feel like I have some of postpartum,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm finally feeling like myself. And also, here in Utah with the winter makes it harder. And he was born in the summer, which was great. So I was able to get out of the house and that helped my postpartum as well. But I feel like everybody's different. Everybody else is going to have something else that helps them or something that doesn't help them. Like what helped me probably won't help somebody else. But yeah, that's kind of how my postpartum was.
Yeah, it's quite hard when you get all those emotions, and there is a lot of guilt, but it's just remembering that it's not a choice. It's something we're going through, it's something our body is doing, and we have to go with emotions. We have to kind of feel what we have to feel in the moment. And yeah, I mean, I think at 8 months I was starting to feel more myself, but it, like I said, like 6 months to a year, like it really was about that year mark where I sort of really, really felt more okay and, normal as a mother, and just, okay within myself after postnatal depression. And, it's like that was before I'd even gone through loss. So, when I did go through loss, I felt guilty again, because I was like, how could I have gone through, postnatal depression? I've just lost kids and this is the worst. And, and you feel guilty all over again. But yeah, it's just remembering that it's not a choice. It's not, it's not a decision that you've made, and if you could, you would make the other choice, obviously.
Right. Right. I agree. And like the guiltiness, I feel like it always comes back up randomly in those moments, and you're like, you got to remember this isn't your fault. You had to heal too. Like you still are you're still someone. You have to remember that. Just because you're a mom doesn't mean you have to lose yourself. You still have to take care of yourself.
Yeah. My husband always says it's like if you were on an airplane that's going down, you have to put the mask on yourself before you put it on someone else, because if you're dead, like you're not helping anybody, or if you're knocked out, you're not helping anyone. So you have to help yourself
Right.
first. And another lady said to me, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that is so true as a mother. Like, how can you even, like, you can't even do anything if you don't give yourself something, some kind of energy boost. Like, it's tiring. And motherhood in any scenario, I mean, because I view any loss, any woman who's gone through pregnancy loss, you're a mum. And that motherhood, no matter what it looks like, whether you have living children or whether your children, are somewhere else, maybe they're in heaven or wherever else you believe they are, you're still a mom, and you have to navigate what that means and how that feels, and deal with that. And even like going through infertility like that, you're still like, you're on that journey of motherhood. You're trying to be a mother. So it's just, yeah, motherhood is hard in every aspect. Trying to being one. Yeah.
I agree.
On a final note, is there anything that you'd want to say to anyone who's maybe in this season of loss, or in the season of pregnancy after loss, who's just maybe struggling a little bit? Is there anything that you could maybe speak into them?
Honestly, I would say, I don't know, that's hard because I feel like everyone is different. But for me, make sure you have support. Have people there for you that you trust and you can rely on, because it is going to be a rough road. And just because, I mean, I want to say the pain never goes away, but it does get easier. It truly does.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. And I mean, I'm like a year and a bit through now, and after my first loss, and I think it's a year. No, it's not a year. Oh my gosh, it's not a year. It's not even a year. It's because we just had a birthday like in December. So I'm like, it's a year. No, it's not even a year yet. And I do feel a lot better than I felt, obviously, like when I was in the throes of it. And it's not because I'm pregnant. Just so people know, because I thought that would make it better, and it doesn't. You still are going through everything, and in fact, like pregnancy after loss makes it like worse.
It does. Yeah.
But I do feel like a lot more contentment than I felt originally, and and knowing that, when you're pregnant after loss, it's not an exchange. Like, this is a new baby, new pregnancy. It's not like you traded that baby that you lost for this one. It's literally like new baby, new pregnancy. Don't feel like you've done the wrong thing. If you believe that it's the same baby coming back and back again, like, that's beautiful and wonderful. Like, yeah, hold on to that. But
Right.
yeah, if you're one of those people who just feel guilty because you're like replacing the baby, you're not replacing.
No, you're not.
So right now, what are your plans? Just before we finish up, what are your plans now? Are you trying for another baby? Are you going through any protocols?
So right now we're just kind of taking a break for my mental state, really, and to kind of heal, because I feel like we never really got to heal. And so we're just going to focus on the kids we have now. I'm going to try and, get healthier and get my whole family healthier, really, because I feel like we all need that mentally and physically. That's kind of the path I'm on now. But in a few years, yes, we definitely want more. But right now we're taking a break.
And I mean, it worked the first time and you still have it. So turkey baster might be
Correct. Yep, that's in our future for sure.
Let's turkey baste another sibling.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I occasionally will watch like the backup plan where she's like, I've been inseminated. I love it.
Yes.
But the whole like turkey baster is just amazing. I love that's your story and that's how you had your rainbow. That's
yeah, it's a good story.
I hope it makes so many women feel really awesome that that's something that happened and can happen. So why spend thousands of dollars? Okay, ladies, turkey baster it, like,
Home first. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to. I mean, you used a medical grade, so that's probably the best way to go. You probably don't want
And
to
you
go.
can also order. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can like order. It's called Mosey Baby. If you moms want to know, just look it up, and they will teach you all about it on their website.
I'll link it down below, actually, for anyone who wants to look into that. If you want to turkey baste yourself,
Right.
we're just going to promote it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we all are desperate enough when it comes to wanting kids. Like, we just, I think turkey basting, hey, if it works, it works.
Right. I agree.
We need to make a kids book. You should make a children's book. Turkey basting.
Oh boy. Prepare them.
It could get graphic. Maybe it's not for kids. Maybe it's for adults.
Yeah.
Just like legs in the air, like
there we go. The comedy side for adults.
Yes, the comedy side. It's important. We got to laugh about these things because it's horrible. We have to have those moments wherever the nice, funny bits are.
Right.
Yeah, because the rest of the time is like a lot of crying and yeah.
It's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for speaking with me and sharing your journey and experience. I'm so sorry that all of that has been your journey and it's so just heavy, and I'm so glad you have your rainbows and that you get to enjoy them, and just continue to enjoy them and don't feel like you have to rush into anything. If you want a break, take a break, because you've been through enough and you definitely deserve to just enjoy what you've got. And I'm gonna definitely do that after this, because I think this is, it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, and I hope other women try what I've tried, or I help someone.
Yeah. Hey, and if anyone does, I'm gonna open up a chat just for turkey basting.
You should. I will teach everybody how.
The diagram and like we won't get too graphic, okay? We'll have clothes on, but we can
of course
do a diagram and enactments and Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll totally will do that group chat. It'll be good.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes.
Please note that all speakers, including experts and professionals, express information, views, and opinions that should not be used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical conditions. If you have a medical issue, please consult a qualified professional. Speakers voice their own views, opinions, and conclusions, and they may not reflect the views, opinions, and conclusions of other speakers. Ella Rose, The Joy of Sunflowers, and its sponsors may not endorse all or any of the views, opinions, or conclusions expressed.